I've been on this journey of breaking out of pornography addiction for many years now. My journey started around 7 years ago when I got my heart broken and I started to look at my own life. And then I stumbled upon the NoFap Reddit and I started learning about all these guys' stories of conquering porn addiction and regaining, just taking back their life. So why would you want to quit porn? I bet many of you guys watching this video already knows the damage that porn can do to your life. But for anyone who isn't on this journey already and feel like life is very dull, or they are depressed, have anxiety, or just feel like no matter what you do in your life, you always feel a little bit behind, that you can't quite enjoy it. If you watch a lot of porn, I suspect that may be the main villain in this story. That's at least partly true when it comes to me, to my own journey in this. I guess let's try and zoom out for a second and ask yourself, if you had a son, would you want him to watch the stuff that you are watching online and masturbating to it? I have a son and I wouldn't want him to watch any of that. And when you start to think more deeply about it, you realize that it is very, very unnatural. It is just simply a source of very, very supernormal stimuli. It is excitement beyond the natural. Naturally, you should only have a few women in your life, but online you have access 24/7. And I suspect many guys today watch a lot of porn just simply because they can, and it makes them feel good. But the point I'm trying to make is that it causes a lot of damage in your everyday life. So if we take, I don't want to go too much into neuroscience and all this and the plasticity of the brain, but I'll just quickly try to make the point that if your dopamine is a lemon where there's some juice inside the lemon, every time you watch porn, you squeeze out a lot of juice because it is so very stimulating to the brain. Same goes for drugs, sugar, all these kinds of things. But porn is very, very powerful in this regard because it's tied to the biological need to reproduce. So that's why real sex is very rewarding as well and feels very great. And when you have sex, you connect to this other being and you have a mutual experience. But when you masturbate by yourself, watching other people have sex, and that's putting it lightly, your brain actually falls in love with the screen and it truly believes that it is having sex with all these people. And that's why there is a disconnect and something is wrong and you might feel hollow afterwards because you're not actually doing something in real life. It is a synthetic love. And this is very dangerous for many, many, many different reasons. And unfortunately, it's free and it's accessible 24/7. And I truly think that this is one of the most dangerous things in our time because the damage is it's not like being shot by a gun where you see the flesh wound immediately. It's like a long process and the thing that is hurting you, which is porn, is making you feel good and giving you stress relief while you're doing it. But when you're not doing it, it feels like something is missing and you don't know why. So that's why when you can finally have your porn session again, you feel normal for a while. you feel present. And then if you orgasm, you also get this stress relief. It's a way of coping with life, and it's very, very potent and very, very effective. But it is, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's too much. And if you think about it and just try to sense some like intuitively sense and think about it, it's too much. It's unnatural. But I will say that with every addiction, it is only when you try to quit the addiction that you realize that you were addicted in the first place. And when you start slowly getting better and better and better, you also realize, holy shit, this was hurting me much more than I thought. And that's why I think it's dangerous, because it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, I guess you can say. All right, so if you ask if you want your son to watch porn, my answer is no. So I then ask myself, what would I want for him in return? Like, instead of doing that, I would want him to live a happy, meaningful life with a spouse or a girlfriend, just having partners in his life, or maybe just one partner who he truly loves and shares a deep connection with. That's what I want for him. I don't want him isolated, looking at a screen, having sex with his own hand, watching other people have sex for money. That's not what I want. I want him to experience real love. Now, if I want that for my son, wouldn't I want that for myself? The answer is yes. I want that for myself. And one of the major things that stand in my way and in my son's way is pornography, because it is directly training your brain to isolate, to like move away from real partners. It's quite simple, actually. And if you, like me, watch many anecdotes, testimonies around for like guys' journeys trying to break this addiction, you will see that it has ruined many relationships. It has ruined many lives because they just can't seem to quit. But when they finally do, it's like their life is restored, relationships are restored, they feel a sense of purpose again, and a sense of joy, being in the world again, not hiding away from the world. I wrote down a few facts, like these lists, I couldn't make them. It's endless, because it's simply put, it's just living life or hiding and like coping with life being tough in a very bad way. But extended and a lot of porn use will damage the brain. It's very simple. You can look into the science. You can go into yourbrainonporn.org. I think there are many studies coming out, and like the amount of anecdotes and testimonies, people telling stories, it's mind-boggling. And it's only going to get worse. But I'm going to talk more about that later. So it's going to give you a lot of brain damage, and this damage can be restored, thankfully, because of brain plasticity. But it will take, depending on your use, let's say if you've been using porn for 10 or 20 years, like decades, every day, it will take, I think, between 1 and 3 years for your brain to be restored, to feel normal pleasure again. And that is just the fact. But it's a short time, because you will feel alive again, and that's worth it, right? You will feel like normal stuff feels good again. Going to work, talking with friends and family, doing sports and hobbies, because your dopamine receptors will have reset, your brain will feel normal again, all the parts of the brain will be activated. It's common knowledge that when you are super addicted to something, that parts of your brain, like they go inactive because your entire being just wants the fix, and it's hard to focus on anything else. And then some parts of the brain will just shut down. But they will come back online if you go through the process of quitting this poison. Yeah, less motivated, more isolated. You will lack the dopamine for adventure, like living your life as an adventure, going into deep journeys of different career paths, starting companies, going on like internal deep searching work, like figuring out past traumas, why you are the person you are, finding out who you want to be. You will lack the dopamine, you will lack the neurochemicals to feel motivated or inspired to live a normal life. But I guess you already know this if you're watching, if you click this video about quitting porn in 2025. Why do people watch porn? It feels great, and it's very stimulating, just like gambling is, just like sugar is, just like alcohol and drugs are. But the porn is just, it's so powerful because, you know, like I talked about, we have this biological need to reproduce. It's tied into us. So it's just a very powerful cocktail, and that's why many people think it's just normal. And on top of that, there was some stupid study claiming that you need to ejaculate 21 times a month. And that's just, it's just insane. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how would you? Yeah, all right. Enough about that. I would truly advise people to try to quit porn in 2025 because it's only going to get worse with the sex robots coming out, AI girlfriends, and you know, the technology is just improving insanely fast. VR, yeah, you can imagine it's going to get wild. Very, very wild. So, but my point is, and my belief is that as the super normal stimulating stuff becomes even more potent, true happiness and contentment and enjoyment of being a human will decrease because nothing can match this sort of stimuli. It's like, I guess I can try to compare it with drugs. Let's say weed is the starting point of the drugs. And let's compare that with like a nudie mag. And then you have cocaine, which is porn online. But then you combine that with a sex doll, which is talking in an AI voice, telling you what you want to hear. That could be heroin. And then we have fentanyl. And then like the most powerful drugs, when you combine being in this virtual world with an AI girlfriend telling you exactly what you want to hear, making your ego fucked up. Yeah, you can see where I'm going, right? It's going to get more potent because there's money in it and it's biologically tied. So there will always be a market for this and it will always grow. The reason internet in the first place got created, like the first time I think internet was created, it was used to send like nude pictures from between military bases or like soldiers or something. I don't know exactly how, but I heard that like that was the main use in the beginning, sending nude pictures, and then it expanded, of course. If you have a problem with pornography, if that is your way of coping with a difficult life, I think it would be very great for you to try to quit it and then find out that life is only difficult because your brain is too stimulated all the time, but that there is nothing wrong with you and that you can save yourself, you can save your brain, you can save your soul, you can save your spirit, just your own well-being, you can save all of that. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You will see after a month, you will see great progress. You will see your life come back to you. And to be quite honest, I've only done half a year. And that every time I've done that 3 or 4 times. It's been life-changing. And I learn something every time. The point is to keep going, keep learning things about yourself. But I pledge right now to quit porn in 2025. I will not be watching porn in 2025. That is my promise and that is my pledge. And I hope you guys will come along. I will post more videos on this subject, because when you quit porn, it's not like everything is just perfect after that. There will be many ups and downs, and using me as an example, I have a lot of past trauma that I'm starting to dig through. I've had to learn a lot about myself, because there is a reason that someone supposedly can do fine with not using substances or pornography use, because maybe they don't have a lot of trauma or no trauma at all. I've learned in the past 6 months that I have a lot of, things that I need to figure out about myself, and I am, but I can only do it when I'm not using my preferred drug. I don't use alcohol. I don't even use sugar or coffee, like caffeine. I don't use none of that. So what was left to cope with a difficult life was porn. And now that this is out of the way, my past is starting to resurface. And it's been doing that for a few years, and I'm just getting better and better and better. And it's truly a worthwhile journey. And if you feel lost and you watch a lot of porn, I'd suggest that you quit porn in 2025. I believe in you. Right. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.